Welcome to Rogers Center. CN Tower standing guard over Rogers Center. The roof is wide open. It's a cool night, just 19 degrees, and the Philadelphia Phillies are in town. This is a home-and-home two-game series exchange. We'll play two here. Tomorrow's an afternoon game. Then Pete Mackanin will take his Phillies back home, and we will meet them in Philadelphia for two night games on Wednesday and Thursday. Let's take a look at the lineup for the Philadelphia Phillies. Vladimir Herrera, the leadoff man, in interleague plays, put up some big numbers, hitting .362, batting .312 for the season, and down in the 7th spot, Cody Asche. The left fielder's got a mini 5-game hit streak, batting .313 over those 5 games. As you can see, he's got a single hit in each game, including a home run. They'll take on R.A. Dickey.
Team leading 14th start of the season for Dickey. Looks for his 3rd straight victory. Really battled last time to the mound. The knuckleball really wasn't working against Detroit, so he had to improvise. Had to go with his secondary pitches to get the Tigers out. He pitched into the 6th inning and won his 4th game of the season. He has pitched well in his career against the Phillies. I think that goes back to his days when he was with the Mets. He's faced them 12 times, and he's given up 2 runs or less in 8 of them.
RA is 2-0 for the month of June, and he's got a very good ERA at 1.50. Misses with the first pitch to Herrera for a ball.
He was talking after that game that his knuckleball just was not there. It's a breezy, windy type of night here at Rogers Center, so I'm expecting there might be some, in the first couple of innings, him getting used to the knuckleball, getting used to the release point of that knuckleball, because that wind is right in his face.
Dickey gave up a 2-run home run to Nick Castellanos in the first inning in his last start last Wednesday afternoon in Detroit. There's a knuckler that misses downstairs. It's 3 balls and a strike. Dickey was in trouble in the 2nd inning in that game against the Tigers, and he picked off Jose Iglesias at first. That was a big break.
Yeah, it was. It really had a momentum changing type of feel over there at first. 2 strikes, both of them with the fastball.
Herrera is a Rule 5 player that the Phillies picked up from the Texas Rangers in December of 2014. It's a full count to the leadoff man. Dickey comes back and strikes him out. 1 away here in the first.
Well, there might be some point here in the first couple of innings where there are some adjustments that have to be made, and R.A. Dickey, not feeling comfortable with the knuckleball, goes upstairs with the fastball. That ball is actually tipped by Herrera and held on to by Josh Thole. We were down on the field for batting practice, and it was very breezy, very windy.
Freddie Galvis, the switch hitter, goes out to the first pitch. Galvis fouls it back. Yeah, unpredictable wind too. I mean, it'd gust around and blow in one direction for 5 minutes, and then turn around and blow in the other direction.
And I think that's going to be hard for a knuckleball pitcher. It's better for a knuckleball pitcher because it takes the break out of it and the spin out of the baseball. But it's also very hard to control it and put it in the strike zone. You can see he hasn't thrown a strike with his knuckleball yet.
Got that one over close enough for Galvis to swing at it. It's 1-2. Freddie Galvis has had some success against Dickey. He's 4 for 12 with a home run. Well, you're right about getting a feel for that knuckleball and how it's going to react in this breeze. That's popped up. Thole will watch it sail over the screen, out of play.
R.A. has always talked about making the adjustments out on that mound and getting a feel for the elements. Well, the elements tonight, it's breezy, and that's good. He always seems to find it. That first batter was a prime example. He didn't feel comfortable with the knuckleball, struck him out with his fastball.
Those batters are always a good indication of what direction that breeze is blowing, and right now they're just kind of blowing from right to left.
It felt like in batting practice, like yesterday, when the ball was just shooting to center field. All the home runs that we saw yesterday afternoon,
Ground ball. Evan Travis waits at second, throws to first, 2 up, 2 down for Dickey. The Blue Jays have committed 34 errors as a team. Let's take a look at how they set up defensively. Michael Saunders in left, Kevin Pillar is in center, and Ezekiel Carrera continues to play out in right field in place of Bautista. Donaldson, Barney, Travis, and Smoke from third to first on the infield, and the knuckleball catcher Josh Thole for R.A. Dickey.
And I had to talk to Ezekiel Carrera after that catch yesterday. That was a game saver for the Blue Jays. He said he took a couple of steps back.
That's a fair ball off the bat of Franco. That's Andres Blanco in the lineup.
Yeah, Franco's got a knee problem, so he is out. Finishing up that thought on Carrera, said he took a couple of steps back, made that catch, banged up his elbow, and he gets his first shot right here on this ball, just inside the bag by Andres Blanco. Extra bases off the wall, played by Carrera.
So it's a 2-out double for Blanco. Tommy Joseph playing in his 24th game. Dickey really having trouble throwing strikes early on. Three and 0. Joseph's got some power. You mentioned just 24th game, but he's hit 7 home runs already.
7 home runs. So, you know, if you throw a knuckleball here and walk him, no big problem. I don't have a problem with that. And he throws a knuckleball because he figured he was going to have the green light. The Phillies have really struggled lately to score runs. So you got to figure that Pete McCann was going to give him the green light, and R.A. Dickey threw him a knuckleball.
Yeah, they don't have much offense, and this is the one guy that can give you some quick runs. This is hit in the air. Infielders converging around the bag at second. Evan Travis calls for it, and Dickey is out of the first. They leave a base runner. No damage. The double doesn't hurt. Jared Eichhoff will take the mound when we come back. Is coming off a good 4-game series against Baltimore. They won 3 of 4 after losing the opener on Thursday night. Let's take a look at John Gibbons' lineup tonight. The Blue Jays 2.5 games back in the AL East. They're 35-30. Michael Saunders moves up into the 3rd spot. No Edwin Encarnacion in this lineup tonight. Michael's got a 6-game hit streak. He's 11 for 22. Saunders has had 3 doubles, a triple, and 2 home runs in that hit streak. And Justin Smoke in interleague play 5 for 11 this season against the National League. He's batting cleanup tonight.
Jared Eichhoff gets the ball tonight for the Phillies. The big right-hander, 6'4". 12 starts this year. He's 3-8 with a .368 earned run average.
Jose Bautista goes after the first pitch. Carlos Ruiz over near the Blue Jays dugout. Hits on top of the dugout. And goes out of play.
There is big Jerad Eickhoff right there. Stellar versus the Cubs last time out, just 1 run over 7 innings. First career appearance versus the Blue Jays. I mentioned his record and his earned run average because they just don't score many runs. He has received a total of 22 runs since he's been on the mound this year. Just 22 runs. That's a 2.7 run support average, 4th lowest in the National League. So he has pitched better than his record indicates.
Slider off the plate. 2 balls and a strike to Bautista. Jose missed the final 3 games of that Orioles series. He was 2 for 2 with a double and a pair of walks on Thursday. Tries to lay off that slider. This is the first time Blue Jays have seen Eickhoff.
So it's unpredictable. Just don't know what to expect from him. That's why we were talking earlier today that might be a first time through. You might see the Blue Jays taking a lot of pitches and trying to get a feel for what Eickhoff can deliver. He's got a great curveball.
Bautista got a fastball there and fouled it back. Eickhoff is 25 years old. He'll turn 26 on the 2nd of July. He was one of 6 players that the Phillies got from Texas in the Cole Hamels trade last July at the trade deadline. Bautista called out. Thought the ball was off the plate inside. It looked like it may have been. So Eickhoff has a strikeout to start the game.
And he comes right after Jose Bautista, a little 4-seamer. Jose thinks it's inside, but Carlos Ruiz, we've seen him do that for a number of years. Frame that thing up and gets the pitch for his pitcher.
Josh Donaldson, he had 4 hits in the Orioles series. And he had a double, a triple, and drove in 4 runs, and he walked 3 times. Seemed like every time he walked, Edwin Encarnacion hit a home run.
He has been swinging the bat. Got that average up to 254, using the whole field, really staying in the middle of the diamond. Driving the ball from left center to right center. I think that's where Josh's power is, and that's where his best stroke is. I was really impressed with the hit he had against Jimenez when he hit a ball to right field.
High and deep to center. Herrera back at the wall. He's got plenty of room. Donaldson retired. Take a look at the defense for the Phillies. This has been a little inconsistent for them to this point. Cody Ashley's in left, Herrera's in center, and Peter Borges, great speed, is in right field. Andres Blanco at third base. Galvis and Hernandez team up the middle. Tony Joseph is at first, and the veteran Carlos Ruiz behind the plate for Jerad Eickhoff.
Phillies have played 63 games, 60 of them started by Maikel Franco at third base, but not today. He's had a knee problem, so that's Andres Blanco who will play at third base. Just the 4th start this year at third base for him. That's a big bat that they're missing out of their lineup in Franco.
And they don't have many big bats, and they can't afford to miss any of them. Franco is on the bench. He came up last year and did a heck of a job for them. Michael Sanders with a 6-game hit streak. Well, what a job he has done. 311 for the season with 11 homers and 23 RBIs.
Just a couple of days ago, he was down to 294, and he's put together a nice little hit streak. Hitting the ball all over the place and driving the ball, too.
Sanders during that homestand was 9 for 14 in the 4-game series against the Orioles. A little bit of everything. He had a bunt single, a home run.
Cued a ball off the end of the bat for a base hit also. Some doubles. His approach at the plate has been really good. He's really stayed on everything.
This is a little flare into left field, and that's going to drop. Stay hot, He fights off that inside pitch and drops it in front of Ashe in left field.
See, there are just certain days and certain times where you come to the ballpark and everything you swing at finds a hole. Right now, Michael Saunders, everything's finding a hole. Look at his numbers in the month of June. Now hitting over 400 with a 450 on base percentage. They put him right into that 3-hole or the 4-hole, and they fit like a glove for him.
Doesn't matter where he hits in the lineup, he's getting his hits. So Justin Smoak, the cleanup man tonight. Smoak batting .258 on the season. Blue Jays have done a good job scoring in the first inning lately, and they've really done a great job since Bautista moved into that leadoff spot.
John Gibbons was talking about that before the game today. He was talking about Bautista. He's going to stay in that leadoff spot until someone takes the job. He says it's no coincidence that we're winning ball games, and if you're a manager, that's all you care about. Since Jose's been put into that leadoff spot, they're winning games.
Bautista hit leadoff for the first time May 19th in Minnesota, and since that date they've had 5 multiple run first innings.
Coincidence?
No,
I don't think so.
well, you just look at as a pitcher, you look up there and see Bautista, Donaldson, and Encarnacion. Those are the first 3 batters you have to face, and that's before you have a chance to really get settled in and get comfortable in the game. Kevin Pillar batting 5th. Remember, no Edwin Encarnacion. He kind of banged up his hand a little bit on that head first slide into 3rd. Two-out walk, 1st and 2nd, nobody out. The veteran Ruiz will go out and try to coax Eickhoff back into the strike zone.
Yeah, and that's really unfortunate for the Blue Jays. Edwin Encarnacion had been swinging a hot bat, but he's going to miss today. Probably be back in there tomorrow. But you take that big bat out of your lineup like the Blue Jays are tonight, someone else has to pick up the slack. Let's take a look at this. Look at the right hand. The fingers buckle under against the foot of Manny Machado, and he just jammed him up just a little bit, bent him back just a little bit, so he's a little sore. So John Gibbons says, you know what, I want to give him a day right here. When we go to Philadelphia after tomorrow's game, to keep that bat in the lineup, everyone's going to have to play first base, so you got to make sure that that throwing hand is okay.
Kevin Pillar had a good stretch against the Orioles, 9 for 22. This was against Vance Worley yesterday, and he hit this in a mile.
You know, the best part about that at bat right there on top of the great hit is he hit the ball out in front. On an inside pitch like that, he didn't try and pull his hands in and fight the ball off of his body. He went out there and he got it. He hit it out in front. Hit that ball in the 3rd deck here.
Bob McClure, the pitching coach of the Phillies, out to have a chat with Eickhoff. Another chance for the Blue Jays to score in the 1st inning.
They have been making a habit of that in the 1st inning. Just got to take a lot of pressure off your starter. If you can go out there and score some runs early like that.
Since Bautista was inserted into the leadoff spot, the Blue Jays have gone 16-7. They have had 14 multiple run first innings, second only to the Boston Red Sox.
Someone asked John Gibbons about that. Said, why would I change? Managers are like that, aren't they?
Yeah, it's not broken. Don't try to fix it. Everybody said, well, Bautista's not your typical leadoff hitter. Well, no, he's not. Who would you like to lead off?
You know what his answer is that for when someone says that to him? Yeah, so? What's your point? Yeah, he's not your typical. I know that, but we're winning. Isn't that the name of the game?
Ball and a strike to Kevin Pillar. Michael Saunders with the loop singles at second. Smoke walked. Carlos Ruiz got ahead of himself. He was headed to the dugout.
He thought pitch number 2 was called a strike. If you look at pitch tracks, he's got an argument. All 3 of those pitchers appear to be in the strike zone.
That's why he was headed to the dugout. 1-2. Pilar gets a piece of it. Pete Mackanin took over last year for the manager when Ryan Sandberg stepped away, and Mackanin has now taken over full time, and this is quite a manager and coaching staff they put together here in Philadelphia.
Lots of veterans, guys who have seen it all in this game. Got off to a great start this year.
Pilar gets a piece of that. Larry Bowa, longtime star for the Philadelphia Phillies. He's managed the Phillies. He's back as the bench coach. This is going to be his last season. He's 70 years old. John McLaren to the right of Pete Mackanin. He's former Blue Jay coach, longtime Blue Jay. Steve Henderson to McLaren's right is the hitting coach, and Bob McClure sitting to the left of the manager. Bill Miller down at first base. He's the crew chief. He said no swing, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Pilar didn't think he went around on this little slider down in the way, and he says, go ahead and check. I know I held up.
Way outside, it's a full count. This all started with 2 outs and nobody on. Ezekiel Carrera is on deck. Saunders had a bloop single to left. Smoke had a 4-pitch walk. And now Pilar's got a full count. He was ready for that pitch. Got out in front of it and ripped it foul.
He's been hitting the ball hard lately. 6-game hit streak. Look at that average, 478 for Pilar. He's trying to simplify things up there at the plate. Not trying to think too much, just see the ball and just react to it. He's had some success.
He strikes out. The Blue Jays threaten but don't score in their half of the first. They strand a pair. Will go to the second. Those score early.
During batting practice as Pat mentioned earlier last inning, there was quite a breeze blowing out to center field, and I asked Josh Thole whether that would pose a big problem for R.A. Dickey, and Thole said no, not at all. In fact, that's what he prefers. According to Thole, knuckleballers welcome that resistance because it helps keep that knuckleball up and helps with a little bit of movement. Last Wednesday at Comerica Park, the wind was blowing into the batters, and even though Dickey walked away with a victory, Thole said he had a lousy knuckleball. The wind pushed that baseball straight in and didn't allow for that dancing motion, which is why, Buck, Dickey then resorted to using a lot of his secondary pitches to get through that tough Tigers lineup.
He sure did, Hazel. He would eventually go 5 1/3. He allowed 9 hits, but only 2 runs. 2 runs came in the first inning when Castellanos hit the 2-run home run. Dickey actually stranded 6 base runners, so he pitched out of a couple of jams last Wednesday afternoon. This is Ryan Howard. He's been relegated to part-time duty with the promotion of Tommy Joseph, the first baseman.
Look at that 150.
It's a high fly ball. Carrera calls for it in front of the scoreboard in right, makes the catch. Howard's retired.
He's always been one of the big power hitters for the Phillies in the National League. He's got 9 home runs, but just a 150 batting average.
Been a good player for a long time, but he's getting near the end of the road. This is the last year of his contract. He signed a lucrative multi-year contract. Phillies have an option for next year, but nobody really expects them to pick it up. He was the NL MVP in 2006. This is Carlos Ruiz. His contract too comes to an end after this season.
Phillies were good for so long, and they did what they thought was the right thing and tried to sign everybody back and keep them there after the nice run that they had, but unfortunately they got old fast.
Carlos Ruiz is 37, and he pulls that past the shortstop into left. Darwin Barney made a dive but couldn't come up with it, so Ruiz has a 1-out single. So Dickey still trying to get a feel for that knuckleball here tonight. Will face Cody Ashley, the left fielder. Ashley's only played in 10 games, and he's got a 5-game hit streak.
Well, they're trying to rectify that situation we were just talking about, where they signed all their veteran stars. They're now letting them go one by one, and they're turning to all their young kids. Farm system is going to be very important for the Phillies over the next few seasons.
Well, they got Herrera in the Rule 5 draft from Texas Rangers, and he was an infielder. As soon as they drafted him, they had him play outfield and winter ball in Venezuela. 0-2. Smoke goes to second. Barney back to first. Not in time. Smoke's throw was a little bit wide of the mark at second, and Barney couldn't get much on his return throw. Ashley's safe.
Did you see what he did there, though? He had to keep that foot on there. Gone are the days of the neighborhood play around second base. Here's Smoke's throw. He's got to throw it over the runner. But Barney just stays right on the base, knowing that he's not going to get hit by that sliding runner. Kept his foot on that base to make sure that they record the out at second base.
Cesar Hernandez, the switch hitting second baseman. He's a free swinger. He goes up there anxious to put the bat on the ball. Batting .245 for the season. He's not a power hitter by any means.
So the outfield can come in just a little bit, even though R.A. Dickey is throwing. They're starting to slide over towards the left field line. You see Michael Saunders taking a few more steps towards that line.
Hernandez has struggled recently. Dickey has him in a hole. 0-2. Delay steal is on, and the throw to second is a good one by Thole. And they're going to ask for the swing. No swing, so it's a caught stealing. So now there's all kinds of pointing going on. Boa, the bench coach, wants the team to stay on the field. They're going to check the call at second. Home plate umpire Todd Tishner asked the third base umpire Tom Woodring whether or not there was a swing on the pitch. Would have been strike 3.
He said no. Then the delay steal at second base. Watch the delay. 1, 2, 3 hops, and then you take off, but Thole spots him. It'll be interesting to see where that tag occurred.
The umpire, Tony Randazzo at second, is totally blocked out. He can't see Barney's glove from his position. As she slides in with that right leg, and he extends the right leg in, it looked like He might have beat the throw, but they're going to call him out. The play on the field stands, and Dickey is out of the second.
Presented by the all-new Civic, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
We move to the bottom of the second. Ezequiel Carrera will lead things off. Pilar struck out to end the first. Carrera takes a pitch upstairs. Carrera's done a nice job filling in, both defensively and at the plate.
Look at that average. 338 with an on-base percentage almost 400. He's spraying the ball all over the place. Taking pitches, bunting when he has to. I went up and I talked to him about that catch. I said, Zeke, that was a game saver right there. I said, did you know you had it? He said, yeah, I took a couple of steps back because I didn't want any ball to go over my head. And by him doing that, he was able to get back to the fence, and this was a game saver. Bases are loaded. It looked like the game was going to change right here, but he goes back and he banged his elbow. Watch his left elbow hit up against the wall. He said, not bad enough to keep me out of the ball game, but felt it. But that was a great catch.
That was off the bat of Pedro Alvarez, and that was the second out of the inning. And Jason Grilli would strike out Jonathan Schoop to end the ball game. Darwin Barney batting seventh tonight. Down the right side, long run for Borges, and it's going to be out of play. Peter Borges, a former center fielder playing right. He's played, this is his 44th start in right field. He's got a lot of speed.
Good defender. Very good defender in the outfield. He's not your prototypical type of right fielder where you've got a lot of power on the corners. Going to have to make do, but he's an excellent defender. He had a long way to go for that ball. He is shading Carrera into the gap in right center field.
Ground ball. Hernandez is there, spins around and throws to first. One down.
Well, let's take a little closer look at young Jerad Eickhoff. Told you that he came from the Texas Rangers in the Cole Hamels deal. Fastball, low 90s fastball. He throws it 55% of the time. He's got a great curveball. I think that's his best pitch. It's a swing and miss pitch. He's starting to use the slider just a little bit more because that curveball is so good. And he'll mix in a changeup every now and then. His last game against the Cubs was outstanding, and he just threw more sliders.
Oh, and Barney slices this into the seats. If you're looking for a pitcher and you know you're going to trade a free agent like Cole Hamels, Eichhoff really fits the bill. 6'4", 247, big, strong kid. And he's the kind of guy you want to pick up in one of those trades.
Good mechanics. And he's got an out pitch. His curveball is outstanding. Hasn't thrown it yet, or he hasn't really shown it yet in this game.
Another foul ball in the seats. Isn't it interesting how he has the great curveball, now he's added the slider, but it all gets back to your fastball. If you can't command your fastball, you can never throw your curveball or your slider.
Because you're always throwing fastballs, because you're
always behind.
You're always behind, and you always want to challenge people. You start bouncing a curveball up there, and you have to throw more fastball.
1-2 to Barney. Looked like a changeup floated up and in.
Talked to Dave Hollins, who is an advanced scout for the Phillies, and he was telling me about Eichhoff a couple of weeks ago, saying, I really like this guy. He's going to pitch in the big leagues. He just looks like a pitcher. Big legs, broad shouldered.
Breaking ball. There's that curve ball. He bounced it in the dirt.
Time to pass on some information on that bench.
Everybody's sharing information, aren't they? Up and down the bench, everybody talking about what they saw against Eichhoff. Bounced up the middle. Galvis throws the first. Barney's retired, 2 outs. Well, the fans come prepared for foul balls, and that fan right there brought his glove along. He takes one away from the lady behind him who had her glove all set. But it's a good start to his night.
Looked like Ezekiel Carrera right there, saving the game for the Blue Jays yesterday up against the wall. Nice catch, and then high five.
Devin Travis went 2 for 14 against the Orioles in the 4-game series. He had a 2-run double in the 5-run first inning.
Well, that was the thing in that whole series against the Orioles. That ball goes down the right field line out of play. As we talk about all the home runs that were hit, especially by the Orioles, but the Blue Jays, the doubles. I think that's a sign that things are starting to get better for the Jays when you're hitting all those doubles. They hit 13 of them in that 4-game series.
They had 7 doubles in yesterday's game. That's the first time they've had 7 doubles in a game this season. Broken bat. Little tapper back to the mound. Eichhoff will flip it to first. 3 ground ball outs for Jerad Eichhoff in the second. We go to the third. No score.
Blue Jays Baseball Academy will be hosting 14 Honda Super Camps across Canada. Learn techniques from former Blue Jays such as Roberto Alomar, Devon White, Lloyd Mosby, Jesse Barfield, and Dwayne Ward. Register now at bluejays.com/camps. Buck.
Thank you very much, Hazel. Honda Super Camp's always a great opportunity to get some fine instruction from some great Major League players. Cesar Hernandez was at the plate when Josh Thole threw out Cody Ashley trying to steal. That's a significant caught stealing because it's the first time since May 10th the Blue Jays pitcher has thrown out a base stealer. 24 straight stolen bases against the Blue Jays.
Josh is now 4 for 11 this year throwing out base stealers.
The last base runner caught by the Blue Jays catchers was Kelby Tomlinson in that Giants series. Bouncing ball to Travis. Hernandez is retired. R.A. Dickey traditionally has had a rough April, especially since he's come to the Blue Jays, but boy, oh boy, he gets better. As soon as you turn the calendar to May, things start to turn around for R.A. Dickey.
He was talking about that earlier, that for some reason in his Blue Jay career, he has started off slowly. April, May, starts to get that thing going as the weather starts to heat up. Don't really have a theory on that.
Better hurry. Borges can run. Donaldson had to go up high to catch that big bouncing ball, and Peter Borges really scoots.
NRA appreciates the great defense. Donaldson was in protecting against the bunt from Borges. You mentioned he could really run, so Josh has got to get up there, make the catch, and then get rid of that ball quickly, and it's still a bang-bang play over at first base.
He knows who's running, and he reaches back for a little extra on that long throw. 2 ground ball outs for Dickey here in the third. Back to the top of the order. What about Herrera? Struck out on a fastball in his first at bat. Dickey threw him a 3-2 fastball and struck him out.
That was the only pitch in that first at bat that he was able to get over the plate.
Herrera bunted it foul. The Phillies all-time against the Blue Jays are 10-12 during the regular season, and they've lost 7 of their last 8 games here at Rogers Center. Of course, they lost a big game back in '93 right here at Rogers Center, the Joe Carter home run game. That was game 6 of the '93 World Series.
Is that part of the last 7 out of 8?
No.
No?
Nope. That's regular season 7 out of 8. Back-to-back World Series wins, and at '93 World Series, Joe Carter was the hero of that one. This is a drive to right and gone. A low line drive over the wall in right. Herrera's 6th home run of the season. That's the first run of the ball game, and that was a laser. Just whether or not it was going to be high enough, the only question.
That's what you call a wind cutter, where he cuts right through the wind because the ball was so low. Got some power, and he got a knuckleball that was up and got on top of it and lined it just over the 328 sign down the right field line. Phillies' first run of the night. Oh, change up. Look where this pitch is. Got to get that ball down. That is right where he likes it. You mentioned the strikeout last time on a fastball.
R.A.'s not been able to throw that knuckleball for a strike. That's the 11th home run that R.A. has surrendered this season.
That ball got out of here quick. Low line drive to right field.
Three and 0. Freddie Galvis, the shortstop. Fastball struck. The Blue Jays starters have been so consistent pitching deep into a ball game that they've really lessened the load of the bullpen. Philadelphia, they don't score many runs, and they have a 1-0 lead. The offense at or near the bottom in almost all the important categories.
They're rebuilding. Some of their great hitters that they had in that time when they were winning, Jimmy Rollins and Chase Utley, Jason Worth, some of those other great players, they're no longer here, so they're rebuilding. They've got young players. They're learning to hit at the major league level. They're struggling.
Andres Blanco goes after the first pitch. Popped up. Boy, after the walk, you would think he might take a strike, but that wasn't the case, and Dickey is out of the third. The home run by Herrera has given Philadelphia a 1-0 lead.
Earn the respect of hockey fans around the world. Find out why as we celebrate the life of Gordie Howe with a special commemorative edition from Sportsnet magazine, available on newsstands Thursday.
That is a very important issue of Sportsnet magazine, so make sure you check it out. Josh Thole takes the first pitch, strike.
I think I'd like to get a copy of that.
Yeah.
You know it? Just for keepsake?
Yep.
We are not going to be in town. We're going to be on the road. So
well, I'll make sure you get one. Dan Robson, I know, went to Detroit today to cover the funeral, and I'm sure he's going to be a contributor to that edition of the Sportsnet magazine. Great writer.
I'm going to put you on that. I expect a copy.
Yeah. 0-2 to Thole. Fly ball to center. Herrera waits on it, and that's the first out.
Super Slow-Mo Cam. Brought to you by Rogers 4K TV. Get closer to the action with 4 times the resolution of HD alone.
Jose Bautista was called out on strikes his first time up. An inside pitch looked like it might have been off the plate. First pitch changeup for a strike. Bautista has missed 3 games with that hip flexor issue. Breaking ball misses.
Jose didn't sit around for those 3 days and just watch baseball. He helped his teammates out. We caught him a couple of times talking to some of the players, young players on this team, helping them out. And talked to Devin Travis today and asked him about that. He said Jose is just so good about certain situations, and he was saying, what would you do in this situation?
That's popped up on the infield. Shortstop Freddie Galvis takes charge, makes the catch, and Bautista's retired on the pop-up.
As the game was being played out, Jose would say, okay, what would you do here? What would you do in this situation? Okay, it's 1 and 2. You know, all that kind of stuff believe me, young players really appreciate that when a veteran can come over to them and talk to them and help them.
Bautista's a star, and obviously he could sit there on the bench, but he didn't. He chose to talk to both Stroman and Travis, passing along information. And I just think it's wonderful that you can have a hitter of his stature talk to a pitcher and explain what hitters might be thinking in situations and how pitchers can counteract that.
We've been in baseball a long time, and we have seen teams that have superstars on their team, and they don't help anybody. They don't even talk to their teammates.
Yeah, and then that's just a waste. You have so much information, and you know, not everybody can explain it like Jose. He really understands the art of hitting and how you approach good pitching.
You know, one of the things that he was telling Devin is control the things that you can control. When you make an out, when you come up the next time, you can't be thinking about the out you made your last time up. You got to let it go. You got to be able to just throw it away and think about it. That's what the good ones can do.
Outside, 3-1 to Donaldson.
They forget the outs and just keep on remembering the good hits and the good at-bats, and they're confident.
Michael Saunders is on deck, and he's already extended his hit streak to 7 straight. Donaldson takes a walk. Donaldson had 3 walks in the Orioles series. He walks here in the first game of this 2-game series against Philadelphia. So Michael Saunders, he had a 2-out single to left his first time up. That extends his hit streak to 7 straight games. You know, Michael's done a great job as Eichhoff's getting a visit from Blanco, the third baseman. But Michael, what he has done is he fights off the tough pitches and hammers the mistakes. Just like that first hit he got. He got jammed, flared it off into left field, and got a base hit. Ground ball. Hernandez has it, and that'll end the inning. Blue Jays leave a base runner. We'll go to the 4th. Philadelphia with a 1-0 lead. And here comes the Ultimate Cleanup Crew, brought to you by Home Hardware's exclusive line of the ultimate hard-hitting and tough-on-grind cleaning products.
Baseball live on your phone and tablet with the MLB.com At-Bat app. Customize At-Bat to feature your Blue Jays and stay up to the moment at any moment with scores, news, live game video highlights, and much more. Download MLB.com At-Bat, the #1 app for live baseball.
Thank you very much, Hazel. This is Big Tommy Joseph. He got called up to the big leagues on May 13th. And he quickly made an impression on the manager, Pete Buchanan.
He's going to be their guy at first base.
He was acquired by Philadelphia in the Hunter Pence trade back in 2012. He was a catcher in the Giants system. And he's now playing first base. He started the Futures game in 2012 in Kansas City as the catcher for Team USA. He's had a problem with concussions, and he's dealt with concussions during 3 different seasons, so that probably has been part of the reason why they moved him to first.
That, and they want to protect that bat.
Well, he goes after that knuckleball, and Dickey strikes him out. That's the first out of the 4th inning. Second strikeout for Dickey.
Don't have to throw it over sometimes when you are ahead 2 strikes. That's the tumbling knuckleball, and it's out of the strike zone, and a check swing by Joseph. Not enough. Not the job Josh Thole does back there catching that ball. He caught the ball and then was pointing to the first base umpire all in the same motion.
Brian Howard fouls it back. Well, Josh, he's caught Dickey more than anybody, and he knows how to catch it. And he's had 12 pass balls this season. I think that reflects Dickey's movement more than Thole's control. There's maybe the best one we've seen tonight.
That was the best one. Throw that ball back into play. That thing was dancing.
Oh, 2 to Howard. We mentioned the starters last time through, starting with Dickey's start in Detroit on Wednesday. They haven't had the same length that we have seen most of the season. As a matter of fact, over the last 5 games, the bullpen has thrown 17 in the 3rd inning, so they've had to pitch a lot.
And that's why Scott Diamond is here. He's going to pitch out of middle relief and long relief for the Blue Jays.
High fly ball into center. Pilar waving off Saunders. Gets there. 2 down. Scott Diamond was with the Blue Jays in spring training, and he has never made a big league appearance out of the bullpen. But it sounds like he's going to make his first appearance, and hopefully it'll be right here with the Blue Jays. He last started on the 7th of June through 100 pitches at Rochester for AAA Buffalo, so he's well rested, ready to go.
Well rested and stretched out too. Got to get somebody who can give you 2, 3, 4 innings down in that bullpen, because they have really been overworked lately. Lots of appearances.
John Gibbons said that Jason Grilli will not be available tonight. Jesse Chavez has really thrown the ball great lately. Of course, those of you who know Scott Diamond know he is from Guelph, Ontario. Another fly ball. Carrera racing back, and he'll get there in plenty of time. R.A. Dickey, his best inning of the night. 3 up, 3 down in the 4th. We'll wrap up their portion of this home and home series. But tomorrow night, you want to stay tuned to Sportsnet. More baseball. How about the Orioles in Boston to take on the Red Sox? And it all starts at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. How about this pitching matchup? Chris Tillman at 8-1 goes to the mound for the Orioles against David Price, 7-3.
How about the offense that those two teams are going to throw out there?
Baltimore and Boston tied atop the American League East. They're both 36-26. Blue Jays are trailing 2.5 games of those front runners.
Chris Tillman, what is he, 8-1 now?
He's 8-1, having a great start to his season.
And Price is starting to round into form. They better be good with those offenses.
Justin Smoke fouls back the first pitch. Fouls back the second pitch, straight back 0-2. Smoke walked on 4 pitches the first time up. But then Jerad Eickhoff was able to strike out Pilar to end the inning. There's that good hook. He got ahead with the fastball and finishes off Smoke with the curveball.
That is a good curveball. It's his best pitch. He's got just enough fastball that you start thinking about it, and then watch how he can spin this ball right off his middle finger. Smoke watches it. Look at him. He's watching that all the way into his glove and knows that that is a strike. Those type of pitches are tough to teach right there. There's not a lot of people who can spin the ball like that.
Kevin Pilar had an extended at bat his first time up. He struck out on a slider down and away to end the first. That's popped up over near the Phillies dugout and bangs off the top of that dugout. Kevin Pilar is an intriguing hitter. He's hit wherever he's played, high school, college, throughout the minor leagues. He had a .322 minor league batting average. Last year he had a good finish to his season. What do you think Pilar's ceiling might be?
Well, I asked Brooke Jacoby that today, and Jake said, I think he can hit 20 home runs at the major league level. He says he's got as much power as all the other guys in this lineup. He hits the ball harder than anybody, he says, in the cage. Well, down and away for a strike. He just has to get more at bats. He thinks he can hit between 270 and 290 with 20 home runs. I think I'll take that with a center fielder who can play that kind of defense.
He goes after that breaking ball. Back-to-back strikeouts for Eickhoff here in the fourth. Eickhoff's starting to get zeroed in with that hook.
Second time through the lineup now for the Blue Jays, and they're starting to see more curveballs with 2 strikes. And again, this is the first time that they have faced Eickhoff, and vice versa, his first game here, so there's not a lot of familiarity and a lot of experience against this guy, so they're trying to get a feel for him.
2 outs. Pereira lays off the inside pitch. Blue Jays have 1 hit, a 2-out single off the bat of Michael Saunders in the first. Well, one thing the Blue Jays have to guard against is a letdown after that long stretch of games against the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Orioles.
And the emotional games over the weekend versus Baltimore. That wouldn't surprise me after some of those emotional wins. Yesterday, 10-9, striking out with the winning runs on base, that if there was a letdown, just got to fight that. You got to fight through it, string a couple of hits together.
1-2. Trying to hit that outside corner with the breaking ball. The Phillies and the Blue Jays, they know each other very well. They play a lot of games against each other in spring training. Larry Bowa, the longtime Philly coach, player, manager, said, I remember watching Darwin Barney, first spring training game, drove in 5 runs. He made the team that one day.
That's true. that guy watched that game on television. He had a big spring. Started that day in Clearwater.
Drove in 5 runs in the first game of the spring. 3-2, 2 outs. Ball 4. Third walk issued by Nycott. Struck out the first 2 this inning. So here is Darwin Barney. Darwin's played so well for the Blue Jays, batting .312 coming into this game.
Bo's got away with words, doesn't he? He made the team that first day.
I've known Larry Bowa since we were both teenagers. We grew up in Sacramento, and of course he's the great major leaguer that got cut from his high school team. Never played high school baseball. Couldn't make the team. He was a little bitty guy.
Yeah. How many years in the major leagues?
Oh, he's been
15
there forever.
plus?
Yeah. Had
And
a
now,
great playing career.
coach, manager, broadcaster. Does a great job as a broadcaster.
Bowa finished up with 2,191 hits for a kid that couldn't play high school baseball. That's not too bad.
He's a winner. That's the thing. Played on a lot of winning teams.
This is his 51st year in professional baseball. Two 2-0 to Darwin Barney. Blue Jays are down by a run as they bat here in the bottom of the 4th. Barney had a good cut. He was looking fastball, but that one was just a little bit up.
Lots of strikeouts and lots of walks. Going to elevate that pitch count. He's a young kid. I don't think they're going to go past 100 pitches with this guy tonight. So the Blue Jays just keep hanging on right here. You're down by a run. Just keep working the count. Maybe you can get into that bullpen.
Carrera thought about it. He took a step towards second, but then decided not to run. Two balls and 2 strikes, 2 outs. We're in the 4th. And breaking ball stayed inside, and Barney was able to get the bat on the ball.
Pesky hitters tonight. I think that's how you got to describe the Blue Jays lineup, with no Edwin Encarnacion, no Russell Martin, a lot of pesky hitters, fouling off a lot of pitches, running that pitch count up. They won't have a lot of power in the lineup. Bautista, Donaldson are really their home run hitters. They're consistent home run hitters. This part of the lineup right here, you have to have some good at bats and work the count.
Barney's done a good job. Darwin, he's kind of unusual in the fact that he chokes up on the bat. Chokes up about an inch on the bat handle for better bat control, and he has really taken advantage of that bat control. He does a nice job putting the bat on the ball.
Yeah, his game is the other way. I think he knows that. I think everybody knows that he just shoots the ball the other way. A lot of hits over there.
Well, what a jump Carrera got. Barney has to swing with 2 strikes. And he pops out to the shortstop. That ends the inning. Well, go to the 5th. Philadelphia has a 1-0 lead. Now it's time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn in the Samsung broadcast studio.
in the TD Comfort Zone are guests of TD. And fans, a reminder, if you're flying to catch a ball game, book a WestJet Plus fare. It's more than a seat, it's a premium experience for a smart price. Buck.
Great advice, Hazel. And you can see the crowd out on the WestJet flight deck having a good night here. Roof is open. It's a breezy night. It's kind of cool. See all the ball players in both dugouts got their hoodies on tonight, trying to stay warm. Cody Asche reached on a fielder's choice and was caught trying to steal in the second. Yeah, you can see it's a little cool down in the Stadium Bowl here with the seating arrangements and people bundling up. Breeze gets blowing around inside when the roof is open.
The breeze, it's a chilly breeze.
Yeah.
You know? Ball players love it, though. You don't get tired. Kevin Pillar was saying Saturday, he said it was the most tired he had been in years. He said, I was on base a lot. It got really hot as the game went along. Remember that? It started getting really
humid,
hot.
yeah.
Very humid. He said he was sweating like crazy. He said at the end of the game, all I wanted to do was just sit on the bench and sit in front of a fan and cool off. A little bit different tonight.
Yeah, it's really comfortable. 3-2 to Asche, and he hits this ball toward the alley, and Michael Saunders over and makes a nice running catch. One down.
Swing for the fences and save during the DIY Expert Sale. Only at Home Building Center and Home Hardware Building Center.
Cesar Hernandez, the second baseman, he grounded out to second his first time up. He was actually at the plate in the second when Cody Asche was thrown out to end the inning. So he had a do-over in the third. Dickey is really fighting that knuckleball, and even in that last at bat, he got ahead of Asche 0-2 and then had to go to a 3-2 count. That's got to be very frustrating.
Very frustrating, and this is like his last start against Detroit. He said he just could not control that knuckleball. Had to go to plan B.
Ground ball base hit. He may have thrown another fastball, and Hernandez is aboard with a one-out single.
He's a very emotional guy out on that mound and fell behind 2-0 with the knuckleball, and he has to come in there with the fastball. It's a two-seamer trying to get the ground ball. He just doesn't get that ball down or far enough away from Hernandez, trying to get him to roll over on that ball.
Peter Borges grounded out to third base his first time up. Hernandez has 3 stolen bases, but he's been caught 5 times.
That's why they might, and it's tough to do against a knuckleballer, is play hit and run at some point.
Borges showed bunt, pulled the bat back, takes the ball. I think it's hard to hit and run. Well, Dickey's not even close with his knuckleball, and it's really difficult to put that pressure on the hitter, try to put the bat on the ball.
If he gets to 2-0, you can expect the fastball. That might be the time to do it. Borges is a free swinger. He's got a very low walk rate and a very high swing percentage rate.
He's had a good run here at Rogers Center. He's hit 8 straight games at Rogers Center. Bouncing ball. Travis comes into the baseline, makes a play, and Borges outruns the return throw. 2 down. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. James Shields has been such a good pitcher for such a long time, but maybe all the extra innings has finally caught up with him. Kinsler's 14th home run in the first, a leadoff home run.
Doesn't throw as hard as he used to,
no.
So that doesn't bode well if you're using your changeup.
And you don't want to go half-stepping against that lineup. Kinsler's hitting .319, Maybin's hitting .382, Cabrera's hitting .300, and Castellanos is hitting .303. And that's without Victor in the lineup tonight.
Where's Victor? He's hitting like .340, isn't he?
Odubel Herrera is responsible for the only run of this game. He had a line drive home run just inside the foul netting down the right field line in the third. His 6th home run. He struck out in the first inning. Dickey is aware that Borges can run.
Looked like he was leaning just a little bit or just trying to bluff to draw a throw over there from Dickey. Josh has already thrown out one base stealer tonight.
The Phillies have now been caught 21 times. That's not a very good percentage. They have stolen 26 bases, but that's way too many lost base runners to get thrown out that much.
There was a time when Davey Lopes was the first base coach. They always led the league in stolen base percentage.
Davey Lopes was a master of picking up a flaw in a pitcher's set position. He could really read the pitcher, and he beat the pitcher a lot, and then he would just relay the information to the base runner at first.
All of his teams, whenever he was the first base coach, had high stolen base percentages. There is an art to stealing a base. It's not just speed.
Yeah, you look for different red flags. Does he pick up that left heel first? If he tucks his shoulder, is he going home? Different things you can look for.
Bend that front knee. As soon as that front knee starts to bend, if he's a right-hander, he can take off.
Herrera strikes out for a second time. R.A. Dickey leaves a man at first. We go to the bottom of the 5th. 1-0 Philly.
Fifth, and earlier this afternoon he was out with several of his Blue Jays teammates taking extra BP using a pitching machine set to only off-speed pitches. And that's not just because Eickhoff uses off-speed pitches 45% of the time, but no team in baseball throws curveballs more often, Buck, than the Philadelphia Phillies.
And you can't replicate the breaking ball. Batting practice pitchers can't throw breaking balls, so you bring out that pitching machine. You can set it to throw any kind of breaking ball you want. You can set it to throw knuckleballs, and they will be wicked. You get those two rotating wheels, and you just change the speeds and mix up the speeds, and you can throw any kind of breaking ball you want.
Knuckleball from a right-hander, from a left-hander, curveball, slider, whatever you want. Roundhouse curve, and it's good that they come out here. They'll do that every now and then. They'll come out on the field and set up that pitching machine and hit and give the hitters a feel for what it's like.
Devin Travis jumps on the first pitch and lines it into center. A leadoff single.
Well, you set up that machine to replicate curveballs, and Eickhoff's got a good one. Big curveball to get Justin Smoak, and then he gets Pilar in the 4th inning. But there's nothing like facing a guy a couple of times to get a feel for his release point.
Yeah, I don't care how much video you watch, you just don't have a feel for the release point, how the ball's spinning, where you have to pick it up. Josh Thole. Hit and run is on. Thole hits it in the air, and Herrera is going to make the play. Blue Jays playing hit and run, but Thole hit it in the air to center. Hey, what? Travis was off and running. They were hopeful of getting something on the ground. Well, now the big bats come around, and Jose Bautista has seen Eickhoff twice now, so he has a better idea what he's dealing with.
Strikeout in a pop-up. You know, a chance. They play hit and run to give the Blue Jays. It's almost like a sacrifice. You up your odds that you find a hole if you hit the ball on the ground, but it works like a sacrifice. You get Bautista Donaldson up there with a guy in scoring position.
Bautista goes after that first pitch and pulls it foul. Mentioned the Blue Jays had 7 doubles in the game yesterday. They have 5 players with 13 or more doubles this season. That's the 3rd most such players with 13 or more doubles. Boston has 6, Tigers have 6, and the Blue Jays have 5 players with 13 or more doubles.
Hey, don't get me wrong, I love the home run, but I love the double. It means that you're having a good approach at the plate and you're driving the ball into the gaps. And that pitcher stays in the stretch position. A lot of times when you hit a home run, it clears the deck. And all of a sudden the pitcher clears his mind and he says, okay, I can start over again here. Double, there's always a guy in scoring position.
Yeah, they're always looking back at that guy at second. Bautista had that breaking ball sail over his head. 2-1. Tried to check his swing.
More sliders. He's throwing more sliders, and it's starting to show. You can see Jose shaking his head. That one he wasn't expecting.
Josh Donaldson trying to time up Eickhoff from the on-deck circle. Popped up behind home plate. Ruiz on the warning track makes the catch.
This Blue Jays Rogers 4K broadcast is powered by the Samsung 4K SUHD TV.
So it'll be up to Josh Donaldson with 2 outs. Josh Donaldson was 1 for 3 with a run scored and an RBI in Sunday's win. That's interesting because since Donaldson has become a regular player in 2013, nobody has more games with at least a hit, a run, and an RBI than Josh Donaldson.
All-round player.
Give you the list of those hitters that have those such numbers. Since 2013, Donaldson has 161 games in which he's collected at least 1 hit, scored at least 1 run, and driven in at least 1. Chris Davis is right behind him with 160 games. And then Mike Trout, Paul Goldschmidt, and Jose Bautista. That's the top 5 in baseball. Bautista has had 150 games with one of those categories.
Those are some of the best players in the game. that you were just talking about right there. And Josh has the most. I'd like to see one right here. He's been swinging a hot bat. He just missed it in the first inning on a ball to center field.
Blue Jays aren't going to run in this situation. As you mentioned, there's no Russell Martin in the lineup, no Encarnacion. So they're not going to take the bat out of Donaldson's hand.
They're not even going to take a chance that if Devin Travis gets thrown out. You want this guy hitting with a runner on base.
Donaldson has 14 home runs. He is one of the 5 players with 13 or more doubles. No Edwin Encarnacion tonight. Edwin has 15 doubles and 15 homers and 54 ribbies. Again, the Phillies have a little breathing room, and no disrespect to Michael Saunders, but it would be a different story if Encarnacion were batting behind Donaldson.
Yes, it would. Tough to take that bat out of the lineup, so you're going to have to scratch and claw, and you're going to have to do some things offensively to try and score some runs. Maybe you play hit and run. Maybe you bunt that guy over. At least try and tie that game up. Here at home, you've got the last at bat.
Two balls and 2 strikes. Devin Travis still at first. Base hit, right field. Travis will stop at second. Borges charged it hard and gets the ball back in quickly. So Donaldson is 1 for 2.
And on a couple of times he got fooled just a little bit. They tried to cross him up and throw a fastball by him, but Donaldson with 2 strikes, he's ready. Inside out, there's another base hit to right field by the Blue Jays.
We saw Donaldson hit that base hit in Detroit on a similar pitch away, and that's when he really got things going. That was the first of 3 hits he had that day against the Tigers. That was on Wednesday in the last Dickey start in Detroit. Michael Saunders, he's 1 for 2.
There's so much break on that breaking ball, that curveball. Looked like Saunders started to swing at it and just came right in on his hand. Got to take that curveball and you got to pull it to right field.
Fouled it off his foot. Eickhoff saw the swing on that first breaking ball, comes right back with another one.
He's done that a few times where he fouls that ball right off of his foot. That time right off the shin. Walk it off.
Trying to get the feeling back in that thing before he steps back in the batter's box. He got hit hard with that.
Yeah. That is not good right there when you foul it off the shin. There's nothing there to absorb that, upset your bone.
Now Saunders asked the umpire if he'd have some time to get set. Eickhoff was ready and he wanted to rush him. Don't blame him throwing another one. 3 in a row to Saunders, and Michael's really still feeling the effects of that foul ball. A ball and 2 strikes, 2 outs. And Saunders strikes out. Blue Jays get a couple of hits. They strand a pair. We've played 5 innings. The Phillies have a 1-0 lead.
Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by the all-new Civic, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
Michael Saunders, you can see he's still limping around out in left field after fouling that ball off his foot, and this was him trying to make his way out the left field. He got hit hard just above the ankle on that right leg.
Right on the shin area, and I'll tell you what, he's still feeling the effects of that. As soon as this game is over, time to get some ice on that bruise.
Yeah, he's still trying to keep it loose by moving around out there. Freddie Galvis behind 0-1, goes after that second pitch, quickly 0-2. Galvis walked his last time up after the Herrera home run. He walked on 4 pitches, and then the next batter, Andres Blanco, swung at the first pitch and ended the inning. Dickey was scuffling right there.
Yeah, 4 pitchers that weren't even close to Galvis. Got to put him down. Put him down before you get to the middle of that lineup. There's some home run threats, a couple of batters away.
That's into the seats down the right side.
He's trying everything, isn't he?
Yeah, he's changing speeds, learning slower, trying to quicken it up a little bit.
Quick pitch him right here. A quick pitch.
That's going to be over the Blue Jays dugout, out of play.
Phillies have their share of free swingers in their lineup tonight, so Dickey's knuckleball should work well with him. He just hasn't been able to get it close enough at times.
Longer hesitation there, but still the ball moved off the plate outside. Galvis putting the bat on the ball, just staying alive, fouling back those dancing knuckleballs. I don't know how he got to that one, but he's going to need a new bat.
Choking up just a little bit more now with 2 strikes. We get a little bit more back control.
Galvis played every day last year as a regular shortstop. That was the first time he's had a chance to play every day. This is his 5th season with the Phillies. Last year he had 559 at bats, hit 263.
Their #1 prospect is a shortstop, J.P. Crawford. In AAA. There it is. See? Little quick pitch by R.A. Dickey really fooled Freddie Galvis. He was hesitating. He was throwing some knuckleballs. He was quick pitching them now. And that fooled him. Half swing by Galvis and another strikeout for Dickey. Tried changing speeds with that knuckleball. It's the first time he showed him that.
First pitch, strike to Blanco. Blanco doubled his first time up, popped out in the 3rd. Boy, Dickey's got it moving now.
That was the changeup knuckleball, if you will, mid-60s. Just slows his arm swing down just a little bit.
Right back to Dickey. He can handle it, no problem. 2 down. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Tommy Joseph, the first baseman. The Phillies have a run on 4 hits. Blue Jays have no runs on 3 hits. The ball is hit deep to right. Carrera on the run, gets there and makes the catch. Another fine defensive play by Carrera in right. That ball looked like it was going to get over his head, but he stayed with it and ran it down just shy of the wall in right. He made a great catch in the 9th inning yesterday. He repeats that here tonight. Good inning for Dickey. Good help in the outfield.
Shop is Canada's largest and only official team shop for your Toronto Blue Jays. New 2016 authentic jersey with 40th season sleeve patch available now. Get yours today at jshop.ca.
Lots of options down at Jay's Shop. You can get red jerseys. Some type of red will be featured in the Canada Day uniform. Justin Smoke takes that breaking ball for a strike. He struck out on a curveball in the 4th. Smoke 1 for 10 in the 4-game series against the Orioles. Andrew Bailey, after battling injuries for a few years, has had a good start to his season. Former closer of the Oakland A's. Two and two. Pete McCann is keeping an eye on Jerad Eickhoff right now.
And if you're Pete McCann, the manager, you got to be pretty happy with your starter. He's taking you into the 6th inning with shutout baseball.
There's a drive to left. Cody Ashley moving over and makes the catch. 1 down.
It's time to convert your big outdoor tasks into short, effortless work. Make the great outdoors even greater with Honda Power Equipment.
Kevin Pillar has struck out twice, once on a slider, once on a curveball.
And baseball is a mystery sometimes. Blue Jays scored 21 runs over the weekend against the Baltimore Orioles. Come into this game and they haven't scored any now. We're in the 6th inning.
How about that? Ground ball. Galvis hits short. Quick release. Throws out Kevin Pillar. 2 down.
Done a good job of pounding that strike zone and using the sliders and the curveballs. Since the calendar switched over to June, he started to use that curveball just a little bit more. He's right at 100 pitches. 26% of his sliders in 2 June starts, and he's showing it tonight. So now he's got 3 pitches that he can work off of.
It's the 13th start of the season for Eickhoff, and he has thrown 100 or more pitches in 4 starts prior to tonight. Now this is his 5th game over 100 pitches. Boy, he's patient with that curveball, isn't he? Doesn't try to make it break. He just releases it, and it finds its way into that strike zone. Good thought right there, trying to get aboard. Ball in the strike.
Well, he can do that because he's got some speed. You know, it doesn't do you any good to bunt for a base hit if you can't run and get yourself into scoring position. So Zeke now is trying to get himself aboard, maybe hit a double. That's something the Blue Jays did a lot of last series against Baltimore.
Got 7 doubles on Sunday, 13 in the 4-game series. Three and 1 now, 2 outs. Blue Jays trying to figure something out against Jared Eickhoff. Andrew Bailey is throwing for Philadelphia. Darwin Barney is on deck. Herrera walks for a 2nd time. A 2-out walk. Bailey should be ready if needed. That's Rick Kranitz behind Bailey. He's the bullpen coach, former pitching coach of the Orioles and the Brewers.
Decisions. You leave him in, you take him out. This might be his last batter.
Popped up. Foul ground. Ruiz, the catcher, is called off by Joseph, who makes the catch. And Eickhoff has pitched 6 innings. He's got a 1-0 lead. He shut out the Blue Jays on just 3 hits. matchups for the rest of these games against Philadelphia. Zach Eflin will make his major league debut tomorrow afternoon against Marcus Stroman. Then we will go to Philadelphia on Wednesday night. It'll be Marco Estrada against Jeremy Hellickson. An interesting matchup. Two very similar pitchers who utilize the changeup an awful lot. And then Thursday night, Jay Happ will go back to Philadelphia, his original team, and pitch against Aaron Nola, the young right-hander out of LSU.
They've got a couple of nice pitchers on this staff. I'm anxious to watch Eflin tomorrow make his big league start.
Eflin, a first-round pick by the Padres in 2012.
So we'll see a couple of guys that they actually traded some of their veterans for, and got prospects from other organizations. This is one of them right here. Eichhoff looks like he's done.
Talking with the pitching coach Bob McClure. Ryan Howard has hit one high and deep to right. This ball is gone. Ryan Howard hits the second Philly home run of the night. That's his 10th home run of the season.
And when the knuckleball doesn't knuckle, it can get hit a long way, especially by a great home run hitter like Ryan Howard. Number 10 on the season for Howard. And he doubles the lead for the Phillies up to 2-0. The knuckleball, you see it just tumbling over the plate, and that ball's muscled out of here by Ryan Howard.
His 367th career home run. All of those home runs hit for the Phillies. 2 home runs tonight for the Phillies, and it's a 2-0 game.
He's got power to all fields. RA's given up a couple more home runs tonight.
Ruiz fouls it into the seats. Carlos Ruiz, the catcher, had a single in the second. He flied out in the fourth. Biagini is the right-hander. Aaron Loop's the left-hander, as the Blue Jays have double-barrel action in their bullpen. Dickey has now surrendered 12 home runs for the season. Herrera had a home run in the third. Howard here in the seventh. American League leader in home runs surrendered, Chris Young of the Royals, has given up 17. Weak ground ball hit to short. Barney to smoke. One down.
Swing for the fences and save during the DIY Expert Sale. Only at Home Building Center and Home Hardware Building Center.
Cody Ashe, the left fielder. Two balls and no strikes. Dane Johnson, the acting pitching coach. Pete Walker is away from the ball club. Dane Johnson comes down from the bullpen and serves as pitching coach now. Buying a little time for the bullpen.
That's right. Buying some time to get them loose, make sure that they are loose. You can see Jesse Chavez in the background. He is now acting as the bullpen coach with Dane Johnson, who normally is out there answering the phone, getting the guys up. I'm sure Jason Gurley's going to help him with that tonight. That's Jason behind you.
Yeah, they've got a lot of experience down there to handle that. They can answer the phone. Are you ready? Yep. He's ready.
Who do you want up? See, he's got the lineup there.
Clipboard with the lineup on it.
And a little scouting report. He'll go over the scouting report with the guys. These are the hitters coming up.
Three and one now to Ashe. Cesar Hernandez is a switch hitter. He's on deck. That's the second walk issued by Dickey, and that's going to be the end of the line for R.A. There's the call to the bullpen. R.A. has been good tonight. Just 2 home runs, and that's the only runs he's allowed. 5 hits through 6 1/3. Just no run support. Blue Jays haven't been able to solve Jerad Eickhoff. Another decent start by R.A. Dickey. Not much to show for it. R.A. Dickey getting a job well done message from his skipper. Yes, he did a good job.
He did pitch poorly. He only gave up 5 hits. He's only down 2-0. Unfortunately, he can't win this game because Joe Biagini is in now for the 7th inning. 22 games for Joe this year. That .235 earned run average, 7th among rookies in Major League Baseball. He's hit a little bit of a bump in the road in his career here this first year. Last time out against Baltimore, did not record an out.
Charged with 2 earned runs on 3 hits. Gavin Floyd came in and cleaned up the rest of that inning. That was the 8th inning in the Saturday game against Baltimore. Biagini looked like he slipped as he landed in the front of the mound there. Doing a little work, smoothing things out. Cesar Hernandez had a base hit his last time up.
Joe can get his share of ground balls with that little cutter and a sinker and a nice little curve ball. Could use one right here to get out of this inning. It's been impressive. This is, again, his first go round in the big leagues. He only pitched in Double-A last season.
Yeah, that's quite a jump from Double-A to the major leagues. Biagini was a starter throughout his minor league career with the San Francisco Giants. Still not comfortable with that landing spot.
And there is a transition from being a starter. Now you're in the bullpen as a big leaguer. You warm up differently. You don't have much time to get yourself ready. You might not be able to throw all the pitches. You got to set that down just a little bit. You might have 3 or 4 pitches as a starter. You might have to get down to 2 as a reliever because you have short spurts.
And to be able to throw strikes, and you certainly don't want to pitch from behind coming out of the bullpen. 2 balls and a strike to the second baseman, Cesar Hernandez. Cody Asche at first. Hit and run was on again as Asche broke late, making sure Biagini went home.
He is not happy at all with that mound. I mean, he is kicking at that dirt and trying to, it looks like a bump where his foot lands, that he's not real happy with the landing spot. You can see he's over on the third base side of the pitching rubber, and when that front foot hits, he's not real happy with the mound right now.
Inside, that's ball 3. So you can bet they're going to start the runner here. Biagini gets a lot of ground balls, and Phillies up 2-0 already. Trying to keep the inning alive, possibly stay out of a double play. There he goes. Cut on and missed. Tolley's throw is in the dirt. Gets away from Devin Travis, and Asche credited with a stolen base, a strikeout, second out of the inning.
That is used like a hit and run if you're the Phillies. You're the base runner at first base. You got to make sure that he goes home. You're counting on that batter to make contact, so not a great jump by Asche. And not a good throw as it bounces and hits the runner. Another stolen base for the Phillies. Josh is now 1 for 2 in throwing out base runners tonight.
Asche's third stolen base. He was thrown out in the second by Tolley. Peter Borges, the right fielder, that gets away, and Tolley locates it, so Asche has to stay put at second. Biagini making his 23rd appearance of the season. He's worked a total of 23 innings.
Got off to a great start, and one of the reasons he got off to a great start is he was just pounding that strike zone. Here it is. Let's see what you can do with it. Lately, he's been falling behind hitters. Like this at bat here, 2-0.
Fly ball deep to center. Pilar on the run. That ball took off on him, and it's going to bounce over the wall. I think Pilar thought that initially he was going to make a play, and then it seemed like it hit a little jet stream and took off. He tried to close ground, but it was too late as Borges picks up his 9th double of the season.
Looks like he broke his belt too on that, Buck. Over the last couple of days, we have seen that jet stream to center field. A lot of balls just carry. You can see Pilar thought he had a bead on it, and that ball just kept slicing away from him. He gives it the dive, but no chance to get that one. Bounces out of play. And with the pitching change, Kevin's going to come in and get himself a new belt.
So Biagini gives up an RBI double to Borges. He's out of the ball game. Aaron Loup in to face Herrera, who's already homered tonight. Left-handed batter, Odubel Herrera. Now it's time for the drive of the game. It's brought to you by the all-new Honda Civic, 2016 North American Car of the Year.
Third inning, nothing score. Looked like a pitch that was up from Dickey. Might have been a changeup. And Herrera extends, hits a line drive. That ball barely gets over the wall over the 328 sign. His 6th home run of the season. Tonight's drive of the game right now is the only run that the Phillies have needed.
Odubel Herrera has struck out in his other 2 at-bats. He is 1 for 3. Peter Bourjos with great speed at second. He drove in his 10th run of the season with that double. Herrera has been clutch hitting out that leadoff spot.
That is trouble with lefties, though. Just a 260 average versus the lefties. Blue Jays have got to stop this run from scoring out at second base. Leave him out there.
R.A. Dickey hasn't had much run support all season long. Breaking ball. That's a base hit. Bourjos is going to score easily as Herrera drives in his 2nd run of the ball game. Stayed on that breaking ball and just served it into center.
You know, that's another inherited runner scoring right there. A problem that the Blue Jays bullpen has had this season. Coming in with runners on base and just not being able to shut them down and keep those runs from scoring. Pretty good pitch from Loop. It's a breaking ball down and away. But Herrera stays right on it. Just a half swing and he gets it out into the outfield.
Now this ball gets away and Herrera will move into scoring position on the wild pitch. We had mentioned that the bullpen had pitched a lot over the last 5 games, 17 1/3 coming into this ball game tonight. Biagini gets a strikeout, then gives up an RBI double. Loop gives up a base hit, now throws a wild pitch. Ball and a strike to Galvis, who's a switch hitter, batting right-handed for the first time tonight. It's down the right side, but that's going to slice foul. 4-0 Phillies. The Blue Jays have now surrendered 38 inherited runners. They've scored. They have allowed all too many to come in to score.
That's a very underrated stat. You know, when you talk about your bullpen, those runs don't go to the pitcher, the relief pitcher. They might not go to you, and it's not like they're trying to do that. It's just something that has happened, and it's been a big problem this year.
The Blue Jays have surrendered 38.3% of their runners that they've inherited have come in to score. There goes Herrera to third, and Hernandez strikes out. Galvis strikes out. That ends the inning, but the Phillies get 3 runs in the top of the 7th, including a home run off the bat of Ryan Howard, and take a 4-0 lead. David Hernandez into the ball game. Cobb in line for his 4th win of the season. It was very tough on the Blue Jays in his first appearance against them. 106 pitches over 6 innings. He allows 3 hits, no runs, walked 4, and struck out 5. He's got a good breaking ball, and we saw it tonight.
Yeah, shutting out the Blue Jays in 6 innings. That's the first time the Blue Jays saw him. They'll also see a guy for the first time tomorrow, Zach Eflin. So they're going to have to do some homework tonight to take a look at them. David Hernandez, they know all about him. He used to be with the Baltimore Orioles. 29 games this year, 24 of them have been scoreless. They signed him as a free agent back in December, and what a great sign by the Phillies.
Hernandez has had Tommy John surgery. That was back in 2014. Devin Travis. Devin had a leadoff single in the 5th that he and Josh Donaldson were stranded on base. Donaldson, he too singled in the 5th, but they couldn't cash in. Hernandez is now 31 years old. Originally drafted by the Orioles in the 16th round in 2005.
He was a really good reliever before he got injured. Missed 14, 15. Came back for a few games last year. Not a full season, really. He's been hurt too much.
Came up with the Orioles for the first time in 2009 as a starter. Made 19 starts for Baltimore that season.
He comes in and he throws strikes. That's the thing that impresses me.
Russell Martin did not start, of course, with Dickey pitching. Broken bat, little dribbler to short. Galvis throws in time and gets Travis. Freddie Galvis can unload that ball in a hurry.
He is quick in his transfer when he catches the ball. That's twice tonight that he has come in, catches the ball. Look how quick it's in his glove, out of his hand, and then throwing on the run. He's got a cannon over to first base. You can see why they made him his shortstop last year. Pretty impressive fielder.
Josh Thole has flied out twice to center field. Breaking ball downstairs. It's 1-1. Drew Storen loosening up for the Blue Jays.
Blue Jays have had their share of base runners tonight. Eichhoff walked 4 and gave up 3 hits. They've stranded 7 runners through 6 innings. They haven't gotten a runner to third base all night.
They had 2 aboard in the first with 2 outs. Saunders got a base hit, Smolk walked, and then Pilar struck out at the end of the threat. Herrera homered in the 3rd, and then Phillies got 3 in the top of the 7th. Thole caught looking at strike 3. Fastball inside, 2 away.
The all-new Civic, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
Jose Bautista back in the lineup tonight has gone 0 for 3 to this point.
You see that happening every now and then in these interleague games when teams aren't real familiar with pitchers. a couple of times through the lineup. Just don't have a feel for him. Same thing can happen tomorrow.
Major League debut.
Major League debut.
One and two, 2 outs. Bautista lines it to left. That'll get down in front of Ashe. A 2-out single for Bautista.
That's how you go down and get a low fastball. Hernandez threw a fastball the pitch before that. Jose was a little bit late, fouled it off. Now he gets that same pitch, and this time stays on top of it and lines it into left field for a base hit. Did you see Galvis on that?
Like he was going to catch it.
No, you got to get off the ground if you want to catch that.
Josh Donaldson is 1 for 2. He has walked and has a single. The Blue Jays can strike in a hurry. Donaldson has faced Hernandez in the past, as David has pitched both with Baltimore and with Arizona. Parts of 2 seasons with Baltimore. Spent 5 seasons with Arizona. Hernandez went from Baltimore to Arizona in a trade for Mark Reynolds. Big slugging first baseman. Good to get Bautista back in the lineup. Blue Jays may have Troy Tulowitzki back before too long.
Yeah, he's going to play this week down in Florida.
Now Miller calls Donaldson for the swing, and the Blue Jays are done in the 7th. We'll go to the 8th. Philadelphia shutting out the Blue Jays 4-0.
Sportsnet Now lets you live stream your favorite sports without cable TV. All you need is the internet. Start your free trial today. Visit sportsnet.ca/now. Buck.
Thank you very much, Hazel. Great opportunity to catch up on all your sports activities watching online. Drew Storen makes his 26th appearance of the season.
His last appearance 3 days ago, he got his first win as a Blue Jay. He was the benefactor of that walk-off home run by Edwin Encarnacion, won that first game with a clean inning. And we'll try to do the same thing here. He's only had 6 walks in those 25 games. this year. He's been around the plate.
He knows all about the Phillies, having pitched for the Nationals. Storen has pitched 35 games against the Philadelphia Phillies for his career. Good changeup. Andres Blanco out front. 0-2. He went around. Crowley will go to first to complete the strikeout. Broncos retired on the swing.
His breaking ball's been better. Getting a lot more depth now. He's throwing it in a good spot. And when you jump ahead of a hitter, you can throw your slider. You don't have to throw it for a strike. Get it close. He sees fastball. Half swing. That is 6 strikeouts tonight by Blue Jay pitching.
Another good changeup to Tommy Joseph.
You see those 7 home runs right there. He's got 9 hits to left field. 3 of them are home runs. He also has 9 hits to center field. 4 of those hits are home runs. That's where his power is.
Now he swung at that pitch before Storen let it go. Tommy Joseph struck out in the 4th off of R.A. Dickey. Breaking ball missed. One and two, 1 out. We're in the 8th. Here's Storen, the 4th pitcher to work for the Blue Jays tonight. Back-to-back strikeouts here in the 8th.
Well, Ryan Howard is going to get the Phillies their 2nd run on this pitch. It's a knuckleball that floats over the middle of the plate, and he has made a career of doing this, going deep. That is home run number 10 for Ryan Howard. He is DHing tonight in his final year on his contract with the Philadelphia Phillies.
Ryan Howard is 1 for 3 with that home run. Howard is 5 for 9 against Drew Storen. They have faced each other a lot.
Washington is in the same division as the Phillies.
Hector Neris loosening up for Philadelphia. And David Hernandez had a good inning in the 7th. Good inning for Storen. He strikes out the side. Blanco, Joseph, and Howard will go to the bottom of the 8th, 4-0 Philadelphia. Now time for Blue Jays Central Update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn in the Samsung broadcast studio. game, his 33rd appearance of the season. It's a 4-0 Philadelphia lead, and he's trying to keep it that way.
Look at some of those numbers for Neris in 32 games, a 248 earned run average. He's worked 32 2/3 innings. Righties hitting just a $140 against him. He's been in the Phillies organization since 2010. He's got a fastball, an improved slider, and a great splitter that he will use to hold those batters down. He is setting up Jeanmar Gomez out of that bullpen.
The middle three of the Blue Jays lineup: Saunders, Smoke, and Pillar. Michael Saunders extended his hit streak to 7 straight games with a single in the first. The Blue Jays need some base runners. They have stranded 8 tonight, and they haven't gotten a base runner past second. Three and one, the leadoff man here in the bottom of the 8th.
I think with a 4-0 lead, you got to attack these guys. Trying to throw that splitter in there. Michael Saunders, he's not biting.
The leadoff walk. Bob McClure, the pitching coach, on the phone. They're going to get somebody else throwing in that bullpen.
Harris is tied for second in games in the National League with those 32, so they've used him a lot this year.
Smoke goes after the first pitch. And 2. Andrew Bailey was up earlier in the ball game, and he is cranking it up again here in the 8th. Watching Bailey down there as he's trying to get loose quickly, just a reminder how much wear and tear the relief pitchers have, even without pitching in a game.
Yeah, up, down, up, down.
High fly ball down the right side. That's going to reach the seats, well out of play.
Pitchers talk about that all the time, about burning out in that bullpen. You get hot. That's the buzzword right there. You get hot. Okay, I'm hot. Managers like to get you in the ball game when you're hot, when you're ready to go. The worst thing you can do is get hot, sit down for an inning or two, and then have to get back up and get warm again and get ready to get into the ball game.
Andrew Bailey has had Tommy John surgery in the past, and now he's trying to get loose on a cool night. 1-2 to Smoke. Blue Jays won't chase that splitter.
Can't throw it in the strike zone.
Ground ball, base hit through the right side. Saunders will stop at second. Smoke picks up his first hit of the night. First 2 reach here in the 8th.
Looked like that was a slider, and it came right into Smoke, and the runner at first base. Joseph has to hold him on and opened up the hole for him. Slider just spins, doesn't do anything, and Justin Smoke's a very good low ball hitter. There's the hole on the right side. Smokey finds it to get the 8th inning started in good fashion. You know, it was 19 years ago today that the Phillies played their first interleague game, and it was against the Blue Jays. So maybe the Blue Jays can beat them.
We mentioned the Phillies' record here in Toronto, all-time 10-12 during the regular season.
The Jays lost that game 4-3 to the Phillies in their first ever interleague game. Maybe they've got another comeback in them.
Kevin Pillar. He had a rough night against Jared Eichhoff. A couple of strikeouts, 0 for 3.
Blue Jays, like you said, need some base runners. They're also, if you're on base, probably playing at one base at a time, being down by 4 runs. We had that shot of Michael Saunders earlier tonight, fouling that ball off of his shin. It looks like he's still limping a little bit, but he should be thinking one base at a time here.
Ground ball to third. Blanco steps on the bag and bounces it to first. That didn't look like it was in time at first. Bill Miller calls Pillar out. But I think Blue Jays are going to have a look at that replay. Looked like he was past the bag.
Tommy Joseph was trying to steal that from the umpire. This time Blanco backs up on the ball and he's going to bounce it over there. Watch the first baseman try to cheat and get off that bag quickly to sell it to the umpire. Coming off the base. Well, that looks like he's on the base.
And you know what? Looked like the ball beat Pillar. But the Blue Jays are going to have a look at it. They've asked for the replay review. Bang, bang it first. Bill Miller made the call. He's the crew chief. So now we're going to have the replay review. This replay review is powered by Samsung. And Pillar, as he does, always hustling down the line, but I don't know if that is conclusive enough.
He hit the front part of the bag. That's what you want to do. Get to that front part of the bag as quick as possible. Joseph, watch him trying to get down there. Pillar to the front. I don't know if there's enough evidence right there to overturn the call on the field. The ball is in the glove now, and it looks like his foot ties. I mean, that is so close.
Really is.
I don't know if there's enough evidence to overturn it.
I agree with you. I think the ball touching the glove when that foot hit the bag, I believe they're going to uphold the call on the field. Ball hit right to Blanco, who went to the bag, stepped on third to force out Saunders. Call stands. Not enough evidence to overturn it, so it's a double play. And now the Blue Jays back with 2 outs and a runner at second.
Still haven't gotten a runner to third. Blanco, I thought he was going to go around the horn on that one. That might have been the easier play in a 4-run game, but he gets the sure out at third base and finishes it off with a 1-hop throw to first base.
Ezequiel Carrera has walked twice. He's officially 0 for 1. Goes after the first pitch. Scott Diamond just called up from AAA Buffalo, loosening up for the Blue Jays. This is the first of 4 games against Philadelphia. And then the Blue Jays will go to Baltimore and play a 3-game series against the Orioles over the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. First 2 games of this 4-game series will be here. The next 2 will be in Philadelphia.
Blue Jays playing with 3 players on the bench because no DH. Wonder if there might be a roster move to get an extra player when they go to Philadelphia for a couple of days.
Well, they'll have an extra player on the bench because the pitchers will hit in Philadelphia. But John Givens might want to have another in case there are pinch hitting situations.
Yeah, and defensive changes and the double switches and all that. It's nice to have that extra guy on the bench for you.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Carrera. Blue Jays have managed just 5 hits tonight. Donaldson has one of those hits, a single. Carrera strikes out. That ends the inning. A promising inning. Ends up on a double play, and a strikeout will go to the 9th. Scott Diamond will pitch for the first time out of the bullpen.
Player. Meet the future of your team at the 2016 NHL Entry Draft, June 24th, right here on Sportsnet.
Well, we'd like to congratulate the Pittsburgh Penguins for their Stanley Cup Finals win. And everybody in Pittsburgh, all the other teams acknowledging the great championship. Mike Tomlin, the coach of the Steelers, congratulates the Penguins on his Twitter account, and it was a great series, and of course they finished it off in San Diego. Scott Diamond makes his first relief appearance in his major league career.
Scott was a starter down in the minor leagues for the Buffalo Bisons. And he did well. He signed by the Blue Jays last November for some depth within the organization. He started in Buffalo. Did really well down there.
Scott has made 58 starts in the major leagues, all with the Minnesota Twins. He came up for the first time in 2011. He had a great season in 2012. He went 12-9 in 27 starts for the Twins. He last pitched on the 7th of June at Rochester for Buffalo. Went 6 1/3 innings in that outing. Carlos Ruiz, the catcher. Ruiz done a terrific job tonight with the young right-hander Jared Eichhoff. Mixed his pitches very effectively.
I was impressed with him. First of all, he looked like a pitcher. Big 6'4", 240 pounds. He didn't use his curveball early. Looked like Ruiz had an influence on that. Fastball, a lot of sliders early on, and then started mixing in the curveball. 6 shutout innings.
Well, wins have been tough to come by for the Phillies lately. They are 29-34. Ruiz walks, a leadoff walk here in the 9th.
Plus, when you came into this game, the Blue Jays had the best winning percentage in interleague play since 2012. Versus the Phillies, they were 9-2.
You just never know how a team's going to react. They had a great weekend series, won 3 of 4 against Baltimore. Come in here and everything stacks up in their favor against Philadelphia, and then they get a well-pitched game from Jared Eichhoff. Cody Ashe takes first pitch outside. Ashe scored a run in the 7th on the double by Peter Borges. Three and 0. A reminder, tomorrow's game is an afternoon game. A pregame show with Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn starts at 12 Eastern Time. Cody Ashe walks on 4 pitches. Dane Johnson walks out to the mound, trying to sort things out for Scott Diamond.
Trying to figure out. I mentioned they made 12 starts in the minor leagues. Didn't walk anybody, threw a lot of strikes, so this is a little odd right here to watch him come in here. And it's not like he's making his major league debut or anything. He's pitched for a couple of years with Minnesota.
You mentioned he has made 58 major league starts. A career record of 19-27. Scott is from Guelph, Ontario. He signed with the Atlanta Braves originally as an amateur free agent in 2007. Diamond was taken in the Rule 5 draft, went from Atlanta to Minnesota. That's where he made his major league debut.
Saw him pitch against the Blue Jays. Now he's trying to find the strike zone. Blue Jays thinking that Hernandez might bunt. Didn't show any of that on that first pitch.
It's fouled into the seats.
Thought he might be bunting also, just to get some add-on runs. I don't think any lead is safe against the Blue Jays.
This ball is hit into right. Carrera's not going to get it. It's up against the wall. Ruiz is around to score. Ashe's being stopped at third as Hernandez has an RBI double.
Second hit of the night for Cesar Hernandez. After a couple of walks, he knows that Scott Diamond's got to come in there with a pitch, and he was waiting for it. 6th double of the season, splits the outfield and right field. Fastball right there, and that ball's hit hard.
Peter Borges has an RBI double. He had a ground rule double in the 7th inning. Bounced it over the wall in center. Infield is drawn in for the Blue Jays. They trail 5-0. Borges hits it past the diving Barney. It's short as she's in to score. Hernandez goes to third. Now it's 6-0. Second RBI of the night for Borges. He now has 11.
A couple of walks to lead off this inning, and that's never any good. When you walk the guys to lead off the inning, they both have come around to score. Infield in, you take a chance that they hit the ball right at the infield. But it makes its way into the outfield, so now the infield's going to move back and they will try to turn two.
Leadoff man Odubel Herrera has had a big night. 2 for 2, solo home run and an RBI single. Herrera got the scoring started in the third with a line drive home run over the wall and right. Then he singled off Aaron Loup in the 7th to drive in a run. Oh, and 2.
That one didn't feel good.
No.
Right off the end of the bat for Herrera. And he's feeling it in that top hand. You don't have to get jammed to have that feeling in your hand. Look like a cutter away. Watch where he hits it off the end of the bat. He's going to break his bat. And that resonates and goes all the way down to that top head, and he feels it.
So he's got a new bat. Got the feeling back in his hand. He's trying to get it back in that left hand.
That hurt my hand.
Hernandez at third, Borges at first. Still nobody out. 2 runs in here in the 9th.
I think that was Herrera calling timeout, wasn't it? Still doesn't feel right.
Ground ball. Travis goes to second for 1. Back to first, not in time. Hernandez comes in to score. It's 7-0. Another RBI for Herrera.
That'll make the hand feel a little bit better. You pick up another RBI, hustling down the line. The Phillies have put together some good at-bats tonight. Taking advantage of some walks, and they've hit a couple of home runs.
Freddie Galvis, the shortstop. He struck out against Luke, batting as a right-hander in the 7th. The switch hitter went 0 for 2 with a walk against Dickey. For Herrera, the second 3 RBI game of the season for the center fielder. He had a home run and 3 RBIs against the Tigers on the 25th of May.
He's still working on that hand, still looking at it.
Fly ball to left. Saunders has a beat on it. Galvis is retired. 2 down. Andres Blanco, he too is a switch hitter. He's doubled in his first at bat and has gone 1 for 4 on the night.
What were you saying at the beginning of this? They haven't won on Monday?
Yep, since July last year. They were 0-13 on Monday, and looks like they're going to have a win here tonight. That's the end of the inning, but the Phillies scored 3 more runs in the top of the ninth. Blue Jays are down by 7. Remind you, the game tomorrow will be a noon start. That's the pregame show. Marcus Stroman will go to the mound for the Blue Jays. He picked up his first big league win pitching in relief against Philadelphia at Citizens Bank Park in 2014. He'll go up against Zach Eflin, who's going to make his major league debut. So it's a 12:30 game, a 12 o'clock pregame show. Make sure you don't miss it.
Got some of his family has flown in for his big league debut tomorrow. Marcus is going to have to be good against the Phillies. They've scored 7 runs tonight on 9 hits. Andrew Bailey in to mop this one up. 3-0 with a .429 earned run average for Bailey. He's holding opponents to a .194 batting average. Righties haven't had much luck against him.
First pitch strike to Darwin Marney. Blanco at third handles it. 1 down. Now for a preview of what's coming up next on Sportsnet Central. Here's Ken Reed and Ivanka Osman. And it's going to be a big party for sure, Ken. We want to thank you and Ivanka, and that's all coming up next right after this game.
Ken pulling some double duty today, huh? Didn't we see him earlier on Tim and Sid?
He is a trooper, that's for sure.
Double header.
Jared Eickhoff is in line for the win. It would be his 4th win of the season. R.A. Dickey is on the hook for the loss. 35,678 in attendance tonight. Up the middle. Hernandez makes a nice play. Not in time. Devin Travis beats it out. His 2nd hit of the night.
You know, we were talking in the opening that there's a lot of hits in the middle of the diamond. Devon Travis has got himself a multi-hit game because he has stayed in the middle of the diamond. Singled his second time up, solid in the center field. This time can't get it by Hernandez, but he's got plenty of speed to beat it out. Hernandez just can't get enough on that throw to get Travis over at first base, so he's got a multi-hit game.
Been a bit of a struggle for Devon lately.
I sense that he's starting to come out of it. His at-bats have been a little bit better. He's been hitting the ball a little bit harder.
Crowley bounces it to second. They go to first, and that's going to be it, as they have called a double play. They called Travis for out of the baseline, and that's going to be the ball game. John Gibbons not so sure about that, but he's going to come out and talk to the umpire at second, Tony Randazzo, who made the call.
Well, he wants to get an explanation, I think, from the umpires out at second base on why he called Travis out of the baseline. We're going to take a look at this, but while they do that, the Philadelphia Phillies are high-fiving each other.
Yeah, they're already celebrating, and this is going to be a tough one for Gibbons. 7-0, and watch Hernandez. Does he swipe at him? No. That's what John's arguing. He didn't make an attempt to tag him. And I don't think the umpires are going to look at it. But there was no attempt by the infielder to tag the runner, and that's what John Gibbons is arguing about. You have to make an attempt to tag him. Devon just slid out of the way, and the umpires called the double play. Gibbons not happy about that. But the Blue Jays lose the first game of this short 2-game series, 7-0. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon. Here's Ken and Ivanka.